Hello, my name's Tom Carhill. It's Thursday the 11th of August at 11:57 GMT plus 1. Yeah, this video is only going to be quick. As you might have, if anybody's been paying attention to my videos, if you look into the past, you'll see that my big focus turned out to be sharing with people the information that I'd found, which indicated that a lot of people who are on the internet are counterintelligence operatives, and I just basically explained this, and in my explanation of this it progressed from me asking questions of the people to then expanding into, well, as I found out more, I kind of revealed more and more suspicious things. So if you look at the videos, they're all in chronological order in the Cointelpro Laxative playlist, which you can find if you look on playlists on my channel. And you find that these people just lead to more seriously bad stuff. So some of them are quite inert and probably aren't even aware what they're doing. Some of them are on a payroll, most of them are. And you start noticing these patterns. It's all about spotting patterns, like with anything else in life. Once you start spotting a pattern, something that appeared very obscure and impossible to grasp then just becomes second nature to you. Like, it just becomes very, very easy to spot. Like, people who look after sheep probably can tell the difference between the sheep, whereas another person wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the different sheep, would they? Because they just all look like sheep to them. It's the same kind of thing with this. So it was just pattern spotting, but if you can actually see the evolution of me picking these things up. Now, one person that I've been obviously very impressed by over the years was Eustace Mullins, because the thing is, everything Eustace Mullins has said always turned out to be true. And I checked lots of the stuff he said, and it all did turn out to be true, or as near as it could have possibly been to the truth for me to be able to check. And he always said, if somebody's on the TV, then that means they're no good, because you wouldn't get on the TV if the Jews didn't want you on the TV. And if you've got anything good to say, or anything good to say without anything, negative mixed in, any kind of poison in with it, there's no way you're going to get on the TV. You're just not going to get on the TV, full stop. Now, all of these TV channels now, they're all completely, obviously contrived. Like people say, well, it's press TV, so that's Iran, so it must be good. Well, probably it's got a slant on the propaganda, and it's, better than listening to the BBC, obviously. But then again, the BBC, brought out Al Jazeera, and then they got Al Jazeera English and all this. That's the BBC. New Zealand, people stop paying the TV licence, but they still get the BBC, don't they? So they're determined for you to have the BBC with its constant Jewish programming constantly to, legalise paedophilia and all that stuff, which is why they still haven't taken down the paedophile plaques around BBC Television Central. They've left them up there. The guy got convicted, not convicted, I think he wrote a diary, didn't he, the guy who put those plaques up, and he was talking about how he had sex with his children and his dogs. Yeah, that's what they're projecting out to the world, is their building has got plaques designed by somebody who used to have sex with children and his dogs and stuff, right? So you start seeing this consistent theme coming up everywhere. Right, now, the point is that one of the big trigger button issues is this thing about Palestine. Now, I'm not saying it's not serious, the issue in Palestine where the Jews are murdering everybody and not letting them out there, letting them out of this sort of pen that they've got them in. I'm not saying that isn't serious, because it is serious, but the whole point is, in the grand scheme of things, it is a distraction, because the whole point is the Jews are controlling you every day, stealing your money, manipulating absolutely everything, trying to normalise paedophilia in schools. Every second advert on the TV is linked to fucking gay marriage. What a load of bollocks. All the homosexuals I've ever known, none of them really care about getting married, and no one really cares about them getting married. It's just nonsense. If they want to say they got married, no one really cares. But the idea that you'd make it legal is just ridiculous. Nobody's going to send someone to prison for saying they're married, but to send someone to prison for saying that they're not married, then that just becomes absolutely ridiculous. They're trying to ban free speech through this. Now, one of the things is, if you look up this rainbow flag and then look up the Jewish Autonomous Soviet Oblast, Oblast, yeah, Oblast, right, you'll see it's a rainbow flag. All this bullshit about having gay police. Now you can look, like, if you look on Twitter, it's at MET LGBT. The Met is copying the Australian government in New South Wales and So I think in Victoria and Tasmania they've also got it. They've got these gay liaison police which are there to cover up for paedophiles and also do all sorts of other corrupt things, but I'm not going to get into that now. But the whole point is, if you identify as something now under these new Jewish legal systems which have got nothing to do with law, it's like they're trying to decriminalise fraud. They're trying to put sex abuse cases through tribunals as opposed to the normal court system, and have secrecy both ways. Jack Straw, the Romanian Jew in England, who's constantly slagging off English people and saying there's nothing worth saving about the British culture. That guy, he illegalised children publicising their own abuse in care. He said it's a crime because he's protecting their anonymity, so they could get sent to prison for publicising things about their sexual abuse in care. It's an absolute anathema. Everything that should be illegal is being made illegal, and everything that should be illegal is being made legal. Sorry, did I get that the way around? But they're just twisting it all on its head. So they're decriminalising fraud. Their usury is going to be completely legalised. You've got to understand now the amount of money they've been stealing out of the economy. Like with the diamonds, they've stolen so much now, and hyperinflation would be so bad if it wasn't for the fact they're obviously destroying the money at the other end. Because if you think how fractional reserve banking works, they're obviously destroying the money at the other end. The system is so obviously contrived, and yet people are worried about a financial meltdown. There can't be a financial meltdown unless they want there to be, because the whole system is just a scam. If you think how much money they lend out from the bank on the money that you put in as a deposit, the inflation, like £1 now, which could buy you, say, like whatever it buys you, that would be worth about 1/100th of that every 10 years. If the this kind of, you've got £1 in your bank, so therefore they can lend out, £11 or whatever it is, or £9. The inflation is obviously being contrived as well. It's a lot more complicated than what people see, because they're just not paying attention, and they spend the whole time listening to what other people say because they're saying something different, but they're not actually thinking about it for themselves. And when you start thinking about things for yourself, you start coming up with a lot more things don't make sense, and then you think about them. You don't even have to be told by anybody. Sometimes it's helpful, obviously, or somebody points you in the direction, you think about it for yourself. Once you understand how the agenda works, you realise that you can work most of it out just by not even thinking about it. Your subconscious will just work it out over time. It will become very clear, because once you know what the agenda really is, or you're a lot closer to it, it makes a lot more sense. Now, one of the things is that, as I say, this Palestine is a distraction. On an everyday basis, it is a distraction. They're not incidentally annoying the people in Palestine and causing them lots of subjugation and all that. They're doing this as a distraction. And what they want you to do is they want you to blame Israel for it. Now, Israel in the initial sort of Jewish religion, right, doesn't exist. It's a sort of a hypothetical spiritual state. It's not a physical piece of ground, right? So what they want you to do is they want you to hate Israel, because Israel doesn't exist and it can't exist. Therefore, it's like a kind of prophetical antichrist state of being, right? The World War III plan, the 3 world wars, which was set out a long time ago by these kind of, these like hardcore satanic Jews, like Alfred Pike wrote, the aim is to destroy Israel, right? Henry Kissinger explained that Israel won't be around in 10 years. He said that about 1 or 2 years ago, right? So Henry Kissinger's not lying. Henry Kissinger's generally not wrong about stuff. He's one of the most evil Jews known to man, and he said that their plan is to destroy Israel. That's why Steven Spielberg is leaking out the evidence of the Holocaust not happening, the Holocaust being a load of a scam, in that film he did called something like The Last Days or something. He did this film, it's a kind of documentary, and it filmed all these mainly German Jews, who were saying, oh no, we were looked after fine in the camps. He's leaked that out. That hasn't happened by accident. They're deliberately leaking this out. They're deliberately leaking out that the Holocaust didn't happen, so that then all the little Jews will get rounded up again. The same Jews who got killed in typhoid epidemics, or got let out of the camps and then got bombed by the Allies in firebombing missions, the ones who actually did get burnt to death. These are the same people who are going to get killed the next time. That's the plan. The folk, if you like, you might call them the fake Jews, the Sabbatean Frankist type Jews, they rely on killing Jews. That's always what they do. They always kill Jews. They've done it all through medieval times. Most Jews weren't going around kidnapping children and, draining their blood and drinking it. They weren't. Most of them weren't doing that. And when they got rumbled, the top Jews would fuck off, and the little ones would get burned in a big tower or something. That's what would happen, and it happens over and over and over and over again. That's the plan. The plan is always to kill Jews. Yeah, so whether they're faked, whether you call the top ones fake Jews or whatever, the other ones are just completely stupid, just like your average, say, British person. Got no clue how anything works. They've got a peasant mentality. They're totally paranoid. They believe any kind of perceived authority over themselves. They don't trust their own brain. They don't use their own brain. They think using their brain is watching TV or reading the newspapers, all of which there is clearly there to deceive them. And even when they know this, they'd sooner go along with it, because ultimately it's not about intelligence, it's about morals. They've got low morals. Admitting the truth isn't about being clever. You need to have, sound morals. Most people don't have sound morals, they have shaky morals. If they had sound morals, it doesn't matter if half their brain was knocked out in a car accident, they would still come to the right conclusion eventually, in most instances. It's not about some kind of, if you like, muscle power that they were born with in their brain. That's not how it works. It's to do with morals. Immoral people like to keep things on a very small-minded, petty, pointless, diversionary manner, so they never actually have to deal with anything proper. It's just to do with different people have different abilities, but the real ability is the ability to be a good receptor for information and passing it on and stuff. But anyway, one of the things I wanted to go on about, as I said, because I've mentioned this thing about Gaza, the thing that made me do this video was this woman called Jo Wescott. That's JOWESCOTT. Now I'm going to put the links in the description. Now she's got a YouTube channel, and she's put up a video about this guy called Ken O'Keefe with an F, Ken O'Keefe. And I think it's spelled, that's how you spell it. Basically, this Ken O'Keefe character is a one of these people who just lies constantly. He's clearly lying. It's quite clear just by watching him. He's a little bit too good to be true. He's quite a good speaker and stuff. But yeah, he's basically doing a load of charity scams. Most of them revolve around Gaza. Then he's been keeping all the money. A complete scumbag. And like Eustace Mullins said, if they're on the TV, they're no good. Like, I've said that before. I don't mean to keep repeating myself, but it's important to understand. They do not let people on the TV who are telling the truth, because they might, through code, through accident, or through any other means, they might somehow put out some truth, and they just can't have those people on the telly. They can't give them a platform, because, it's incremental. Once you've been on the telly, once more people will, look at you. They can't have that. You're stuck indelibly printed into people's minds, and they can't have that. So anybody who's on TV is bad, yeah? Now, some people might be preferable over the others, but the more you learn, you start realising that everything that happens now is either fake news or highly contrived. And, if it's not lies, it's lies by omission. If it's the truth, it's put in a deceptive way to give you the wrong impression. That's how it works. So, you really, really need to pay attention to that. And I'll give you an example. Like, I've just put a video up about 2 days ago. Brian Harvey, I found it. I was speaking to him quite a bit about a year ago, and the reason that he's been targeted so badly, and he's been mentioned in Parliament by the Prime Minister, at least once by Tony Blair, I think twice by Tony Blair. They basically tried to blame him for every single thing that went wrong in the country. And the reason for that is because he had such a platform, because he was a pop star, and he wasn't going along with their agenda, that they then spent the next 20 years making out he's the most stupid, immoral, useless druggie in the country. And they just made up a load of lies about him. And they got him sent to prison, they had someone attack him and hit him on the head with a machete. All these things happened to him. And they just constantly slag him off, and you get the impression that he was really stupid. But when you talk to him, you realise he's anything but stupid. In fact, he's definitely in a 1% of intelligence bracket, there's no question. Yet they've managed to portray him as stupid, but he's not. That's how much effort they have to spend when one person gets on the TV who's not, a typical thick-as-fuck British member of the public, or in any other country. I'm just using that because I'm in Britain now, That's the point. So, with Brian Harvey, you should look at that song that he did. because it's actually quite interesting. The more times you listen to it, if you look up all the names, you know, it explains about how Leverson's all just a big scam for the Murdoch Empire. It's all a big cover-up. And, you know, Ian Puddick, Bill Baloney's in there. I called Bill Baloney, I coined that phrase, and apparently he hates it. And Brian Harvey said every time he heard me saying that, he knew that was his like, meal ticket over, because it was so catchy. And he calls him Bill Baloney in the song. But, yeah, anyway, so maybe you should have a look at that. But anyway, this Jo Wescott has done a video about Ken O'Keefe, and she's also got a Pinterest, and it's got all about how he's a scam artist. Now I'm going to try and get more information out of her, because I don't like this Ken O'Keefe. I know he's alive. I know he was lying about disarming Israeli special forces on boats, and I know that as well as that, he keeps getting blood on his face all the time, and he's got this other scam artist friend who I knew was a scam artist independently of this, called Max Egan, because somebody I know very well, who I would trust with my money, and I have trusted with money, told me that he stole money off him. So the guy called Max Egan in Australia, and he's been pictured with blood all over his face, like all this. It's very easy to fake these things, right? And people see someone with blood on their face and think, oh, they must be genuine. No, not true. No, you've just got to look at everything the other way round. Look at it like this. What would I do to make myself appear genuine if I wasn't appearing genuine? So anyway, I'm going to put the links in the description, but I'd be very grateful if you'd follow them and have a little look, because for instance that video there that this Wescott woman's put up, it's only got 1,820 views, right? Now maybe it's got taken down and put up again, but that says 3 years ago. So you see, no, so that will be the original video. Again, maybe she took it down at some stage and put it up again, like, you know, blocked it, you know, sent it to secret or something. But I would really be grateful if you'd have a little look at that and look at the Pinterest. I'm going to put the links in the description or in a little thingy above, what do they call them, annotation above the screen. So anyway, my name's Tom Carhill, and it's 12:14 on Thursday the 11th of August 2016. Also, please look at my channel Aussies Love Pedos, OZZIESLOVEPEDOS, and also on Twitter. And also you can see this channel is also on Twitter, right? So, you know, like if you use the same name, TZOMCAHILL, you can find me on Twitter. There's lots of interesting stuff going up there. And just quickly, the reason there haven't been as many videos as I used to do is because I'm concentrating on a different angle of stuff. I'm concentrating more on actual specific named individuals who are doing actual specific named stuff. So for instance, like actual criminals who've stolen some money in a fraud or something like that. I'll actually name them, and I'm going to, but that has to be done differently, see, because you've got to compartmentalize your information you put out. You can't put it all out on your YouTube channel, because if you put it all out on your YouTube channel, people will get one thing mixed up with another. If people, you know, you want to target it separately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand and expand, but it won't all be on the same channel. It will be on different channels. It will be targeted, and some of it will be more academic, some of it will be more anecdotal, that kind of thing. And that's the way things will proceed in the future, because like one of the big ones is the situation with Balfour Beatty and them stealing from their shareholders. Like, they're the biggest construction firm in England. You know, I'm a quantity surveyor, that's what I've learned to do. You've also got how these Masons all sort of start attacking people. Like for instance, so if you have a problem with a Mason over one thing, like a top Mason, or, you know, a top Masonic agenda company, you'll get the other Masons who don't actually know them. They will get together and they'll both coordinate their efforts to attack you. So they'll start putting up hate sites. And of course you've got people like that guy called Gary Burns, who's Australia's #1, in inverted commas, gay activist, actually a paedophile. That's what Aussies Love Pedos is all about, because it's so blatant, and they're covering up for him. Getting information from Catherine Byrne, who's their chief of police and head of Gladio operations under there. She's obviously a sign in Mossad. She looks like he looks like a man. If you look at him, he looks like a man. And she's linked to Craig Mackey. Gary Burns was threatening with Craig Mackey back in February of this year. Mackey's got an unusual email address, by the way. It's craig.mackey2 at, I forget what the Met have different email post fixes, but either way, it's an obscure email address. He's clearly got it from him, or from her for him, and we know for a fact that she's linked to Gary Burns. This has been proved with actual proper documents. You know, they are on first name bases. She runs the Australian, you know, gay liaison pedo cover up police, who've got the scam where they keep people in, you know, like bridging visas for sex workers and stuff. the gay police set white heterosexual men up on fake charges so that they can keep these people in on these serious crime, they're kind of a witness to a serious crime, so they can stay in Australia indefinitely, and they just put people in prison on remand. Absolute outrageous scam going on there. This can all be proven, but you see, this is something that not just something you want to make one video about. You can actually prove the whole thing and how they're trying to normalise paedophilia in Australia, and they're doing it through the court system and all that, because they're doing it in every country. It's not just happening there, it's happening here. Ian Puddick's server, where he put up the tom-cahill.co.uk website, and he's now talking to Gary Burns on his anti-discrimination activist site in Australia, right? The death threats coming from Gary Burns to Luke McKee, people Luke McKee knew, were coming from Ian Puddick's server. You see, it's the same server. They're all linked, the whole lot of them. All of these, look, Gary Burns is definitely a Jew. He's constantly going on about foreskins, constantly. He's recently threatened that the police are going to come round and get me, or a dirty pedo, and they're going to smash my head in. He keeps forgetting that paedophilia hasn't yet been protected by law as a kind of a special superhuman elevated race like the Jews. It's not the master race yet because you're a pedo, but they think it is. You see, so occasionally they let these things go. And also we've got the Trong and Newton, that's Newton, I forget his name, Mark Newton and Peter Trong, that case there. We've got their lawyer, I think her name's, I forget her name anyway. I've got an email from her where Luke's asked to speak to Peter Trong, the Vietnamese Australian guy, in that paedophile duo who were renting out the kids, saying that he should renounce this gay marriage, because they were gay marriage activists, and say that it's a cover for paedophiles, and it would do his bail some good. Now his very helpful lawyers got back. She's a complete space cadet. If you look at her, it's very unusual, because for such a politicised case you'd think they'd use a better lawyer, but she's obviously just a kind of a sponge. She's got no actual legal weight, because she's got loads of complaints about her on the internet, if you type in her name, and she's clearly there to be such an incompetent person that if anybody says anything, she can't be relied upon, so you'll never be able to catch her out, because anything she says will be just so unreliable and weird. But anyway, she's actually said no, he's not going to be doing that, because you obviously hate gays. He identifies as gay, he is not a paedophile. Now he's been sent to prison for 40 years for renting out children and admitting to abusing them. And he did admit to abusing them, which is why I think he got 35 years and Martin Newton got 40 years. She's saying he's not a paedophile. What the fuck is she on about? She's a complete idiot. And we've also got more stuff about Puddick and his dodgy Maori conspiracy with his other Maori friends from this barristers who claim that they got awarded costs in his case, that it's a completely contrived case. It's a Maori conspiracy to change the freedom of speech and harassment laws in England. And anyway, the Maori judge apparently awarded costs, but Puddick said that this guy Jonas Miller and some other lawyer who he works for, but I believe that Jonas was the one who put him in touch with him, who's another Maori subversive living in England. If you start looking into his background and some of the cases he's in, they're all Maori subversive trials, completely run by Maoris. So anyway, my name's Tom Kyle. As I said, it's 12:21 and it's Thursday the 11th of August 2016. Please give me some feedback in the comments, any information necessary. I know I've thrown quite a few things out here, but hopefully this will just give you some things to have a little bit of think about. I'm just giving you a little update on what I'm dealing with at the minute. Okay, thanks very much. Bye bye.